And take you to Tony Abbott, who's speaking to journalists at Parliament House in Canberra.
People smugglers have been operating with impunity here in our nation's capital. Not only have they managed to get into this country without detection, but apparently they have been living in taxpayer-funded housing while they go about their criminal activities. Now, the obvious question which occurs is, if the TV stations can find them, why can't the government stop them? This is an extraordinary indictment of the fact that this is a government which is utterly incompetent, utterly and comprehensively incompetent when it comes to protecting our borders. There's more detail today on the fact that the carbon tax is not only terrible economics, but it's disastrous politics. You've got the Lowy Institute polling, which suggests that 63% of Australians are opposed to the carbon tax, and 57% of Australians want the next coalition government to repeal it as soon as we possibly can, and that is what we will do. We will repeal the carbon tax because this is an attack on people's cost of living, it's an attack on people's jobs, it's an attack on economic growth, and if we are serious about a more prosperous country, tax reform will start with abolishing the carbon tax. It's striking today that we have a Prime Minister who is not prepared to defend one of her most capable ministers. Gary Gray is probably one of the very few ministers in this government who understands the mining industry. He is now under attack from the union movement, 5 unions in his own seat. Obviously, I want to defeat Gary Gray at the next election, but he should lose the election for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. And at the moment, he has a leader who is so spooked by the faceless men that she cannot defend one of her own better ministers. It's obvious in all of this that this is a divided and dysfunctional government. Australians are crying out for change. They are crying out for a better government, a government that can restore hope, reward and opportunity, and that's what the coalition offers. We will get spending down, we will get taxes down, we will get productivity up. That means that growth will be up, and that's what Australia needs right now. These are very, very forbidding international economic circumstances. The last thing we need is a government with policies that will damage Australia's economic growth.
Say how long it might take to be rid of the carbon tax?
Look, on day one, we will begin the process, and I am confident that we can get rid of this carbon tax, because what the Parliament has done, the Parliament can undo, and it must undo if Australia is to have the prosperity in the future that we have a right to expect.
The Climate Change Minister, Greg Combay, says that he's not going to, well, Labor won't facilitate the quick passage of the repeal of the carbon tax. Your comments on that, and also your comments on Greg Combay says that you're now crab walking away from your promises, pointing out that your Python squeeze language is now, because as you get closer to July 1st, you realise that it won't cause as much damage as you've been saying.
Well, how arrogant and out of touch is this government to say that it will defy the verdict of the people? Now, the next election is going to be a referendum on the carbon tax. Let there be absolutely no doubt about that. I'm just going to wait for that vehicle to go past. The next election is going to be a referendum on the carbon tax. Any Labor Party which persists in opposition in supporting a carbon tax is a Labor Party which is arrogant and out of touch, a Labor Party which just doesn't get it. Now, as for the damage that the carbon tax will do, we're already seeing it. I mean, jobs are already being lost in places like Kurri Kurri and Port Kembla because of the carbon tax. Airlines are already shutting routes because of the carbon tax. Councils are already putting up rates because of the carbon tax. Now, sure, it'll be a python squeeze rather than a cobra strike, but it will be toxic for families' cost of living, and it will be toxic for Australians' job security, because this is a reverse tariff. Let's be absolutely clear what this is. This is a reverse tariff that advantages our foreign competitors and disadvantages domestic industry.
Is your rhetoric changing, though? I mean, 2 days ago you were describing it as a wrecking ball through the economy. Now it's a python squeeze, flies along slow death. Are you now realising the damage won't be as dramatic straight away?
There is going to be drastic damage done to the Australian economy. As I've been saying all along, this is an act of economic self-harm. This is the ultimate economic